See, we plan ahead. That way we don't do anything right now.
I think about lots of things. Now, why don't we not stand here talking about them and get down to doing them?
To begin.
Clytus, I'm bored.
To begin.
What plaything can you offer me today?
How to start.
Welcome to The First Syllable, a podcast ostensibly about pronouncing things incorrectly, apparently. Ostensibly about writing. Except since I haven't been writing of late, there haven't been episodes of late. The last episode was 6 months plus a week ago, January 24th. And that was just an update because I had finished a script, I think, is what that episode was about. Lockdown Lies. And there were several pieces of episodes talking about Chase 2 Rabbits prior to that. The book I still haven't started to write, other than, well, actually there's the debate, I guess. Have I started to write it? The mural board has so many words in it, so many post-its. Like, the plot is mapped out. Couple gaps, but a lot of plot mapped. And I know the structure, I know how the narrative works. I know that each chapter is an answer to a question, as Lee is basically doing a series of, not interrogations, but meetings with a cop, basically. Because he is implicated in crimes toward the end of the book, and he's explaining what actually happened, even though he can't prove certain parts of it. Because it is a mystery plot and a detective story, I kept saying that was why I kept having trouble starting it. And I think I realized the real reason, or maybe it's just a new reason because I needed a reason. A reason I haven't been writing it is not because of the story structure or the overall genre, as it were. It's still a fantasy novel. It's still set in Basara. Specifically the city of Aedith, which is where most of Four Finger Discount took place, and parts of some other things I've written. But I realized the problem might be that while I know Lee as a character really well, because Lee started as Leaver, was a Harengon drunken master monk, if you know Dungeons and Dragons. It was basically a character I had come up with for potentially playing as. So I know Lee very well. I know what his personality is like. I know what kind of person he is and why he does the things he does. The problem is, from the start, like one of my early notes, was that this isn't Lee's story. I wanted him to be narrating, but I didn't want first-person narrator explaining his life. Because it's too easy to get bogged down in boring, too much detail. I've done that before with things I've written, where they get too wordy and too extraneous to the story or even the plot because it's too much about the character. I wanted it to be about Beatty and Frankie, the two young women who he is, just prior to the beginning of the story, he has been hired to locate them for their father. I won't get into the reasons here, but because he needs to get something from them, because he's getting older and he thinks he's going to die. The story actually begins with the night of that father getting murdered, and then Lee has to trace backwards and figure out who was involved in him looking for the two daughters, who he had contact with maybe that might be responsible for the murder. The problem is it becomes very much story-wise about Beatty and Frankie and who they are, what makes them different. And I have lots of objective notes about this. Bunch of post-its. Well, or virtual post-its in my mural board about Beatty and about Frankie and about the people they're involved with, the things they're doing, the organizations they're part of. But as sort of people, personality-wise, I have some vague notion. Okay, here's the big problem. I, at the moment, can't remember which one's Beatty and which one's Frankie. I know one of them is involved tangentially with the Denial group that is anti-magic, and the other one is not only directly involved with magic, she's directly involved with like a sort of organized crime level of magic and conspiracy and all these crazy dark underbelly stuff of the city of Aedith. And the throne of Basara, for that matter. Or not Basara, Guardia. Basara is the world. Eliathea is the continent. Guardia is the country. Or the kingdom. It's not a country, technically. It's a kingdom. The state, as it were. Because she's close friends with Princess Atasia, who is the youngest daughter of the Highbaron King. I think Katasia's the youngest. But who she is at the beginning of the sentence was, I'm not sure if it's Frankie or Beatty. That's part of the problem, is remembering which is which. Even when I write new notes, I'm like, Magic Daughter or not Magic Daughter, because I can't remember the names. And if I don't remember the names even of the two main characters, Lee is not the main character. He is going to be in all the scenes, but it's not a story about him. It is a story about how he gets set up for a crime and is blackmailed into essentially being unable to solve part of the crime. And it will come back to haunt him later if I actually write this and write other ones involving Lee. But why is Magic Daughter drawn to magic? Is it just because she's able to do it and that connected her to the wrong people? Or is it because she was connected to the wrong people and that's why she got involved with magic and it wasn't essentially natural? I think it had to be natural for her. Oh, I'm going to figure some stuff out right here. I think it had to be natural for her to be as good at it as she is. Because the plot kind of hinges on how good she is at this stuff. Meanwhile, the other one, maybe that's part of the thing that's hard for Lee to figure out, because neither one of them want to talk about it. Their father is dead once most of the plot is underway. And their father's clockwork valet basically is a robot butler. The clockwork valet probably wouldn't know their secrets or has been sworn or even programmed to be unable to share them. So maybe he has to point Lee in certain directions because of stuff he knows but can't tell. And it might come down to an actual dispute between the two sisters. The one was getting too much involved. It's like Willow and Tara and Buffy. You're doing too much magic and all that stuff.
I can fix it. I know a spell.
No. No more spells.
Then what? This isn't something that's going to be fixed by a video club. I know I messed up, okay? And I want to fix it.
I can't believe that we are talking about this again. You know how powerful magic is, how dangerous. You could hurt someone. You could hurt yourself.
But I know a spell that will make her forget she was ever in heaven.
God, what is wrong with you?
I'm gonna go get that phone. You probably don't hear it. High-pitched ring, ears like a dog.
I'm gonna help you with that. Do you think I'm stupid? I know you used that spell on me.
Tara, I'm sorry. I didn't...
Don't. There's nothing you can say.
Tara, I didn't mean to...
To what? Violate my mind like that? How could you, Willow? How could you after what Glory did to me?
Violate you? I didn't mean anything like that. I just wanted us not to fight anymore. I love you.
If you don't want to fight, you don't fight. You don't use magic to make a fight disappear.
But I just wanted to make things better. Better for us.
But you don't get to decide what is better for us, Will. We're in a relationship. We are supposed to decide together.
Okay. I realize I did it wrong.
You did it the way you're doing everything. When things get rough, you don't even consider the options. You just do a spell. It's not good for you, Willow. And it's not what magic is for.
But I just want to help people.
Maybe that's how it started, but you're helping yourself now, fixing things to your liking. Including me.
Tara, no.
I don't think this is gonna work.
Hey. It is. It's working. Tara, please. I need you, baby. I need you. I don't need magic. I don't. Let me prove it to you, okay? I will go a month without doing any magic. I won't do a single spell, I swear.
Go a week. 1 week without magic.
Fine, that's easy.
Go. go a week and then we'll see. I don't know, I just think we both need some, I don't know, space. I can't believe I'm saying this.
Are you saying you're gonna leave me?
Because the whole thing with Basara, World Without Magic, is that magic is dying. The common people don't have much experience with magic, don't know people who can do magic. They know magic exists, and there is certain magic that is every day, all the time. Like, they don't carry torches or candles. If you're an adventurer, if I turned this into an actual D&D setting, which is what I kind of wanted to do several years ago, you wouldn't carry a torch or a candle. You carry these little stick things they have that are basically kind of like flashlight lantern things, but they're powered by magic. Probably, actually, those might be just naturally occurring. They might use some element that glows or an animal that lights up. I'm not sure. I know even if it's an animal that lights up, it's most likely an animal with some sort of magic to it, in Basara's terms. Their bioluminescence probably wouldn't be natural. It's inherently magical. But magic is dying, so if one of the sisters starts delving into magic, the other sister might see it as something bad, almost like, going back to the Willow and Tara thing, the drug metaphor. That you're getting involved in something that you're not supposed to get involved in. There's a reason the Forgotten Gods are the Forgotten Gods, and that everyone just believes in and worships Pero and Lady Time. The rest of the gods went away, as far as they know. Or never existed, as a lot of people think. So maybe that's the thing I have to figure out before I think I can start actually writing the stories. I need to know what was the dispute between Frankie and Beatty. What makes them who they are? What was it that happened when they were a little bit younger that has caused them to be I don't know if I have specified their ages in my notes, but I picture them as being like early 20s. So still fairly young in terms of having their own lives, but young enough that they still have dreams and think they're capable of great things, which is why one is getting involved with serious magical organization and magical disguises and other things, while the other one is actively joining these weird, violent groups. And so my plan this week, I'm on break at the moment for a few weeks, in between my summer class and my fall classes. I want to figure out Frankie and Beatty. I want to figure out what divided them, what drove them in their separate directions, so that I can understand more of their personality and more how they drive the actual plot and the actual story. Lee is easy for me at this point. The only hard part with him was trying to put myself in a place where I can write him almost like a hard-boiled detective narrative thing, the way he talks. But also he's just this weird little magical person that everyone reacts to in interesting ways. He's used to it. He's used to being an outsider. Frankie and Beatty, on the other hand, are choosing to be outsiders. And Lee's understanding of that is vital to the central arc of the story. And so I need to understand them more than him. Or as much as him. Maybe more, but definitely as much. I have tons of stuff on him. I have a whole section of Post-its at the top of the Miro board that are just about him every day. Not even plot stuff, just things I know are in his office. Things I know that he does on a regular basis. Friends he has. People he interacts with. But Frankie and Beatty, while there's a few objective beats about people they interact with, places they go, there's not a lot about, like, I don't know what's in Beatty's room at her father's house or in her apartment that she keeps for herself. I don't know what's in Frankie's. Whichever one is the magic one, I want to say it's Beatty. 50-50 shot there. I feel like I can picture her place because she comes from a specific reference from the, what is that book called? Where is it? Raymond Chandler, The Big Sleep. The Two Daughters thing is a specific reference to the plot of The Big Sleep. Which, hell, at this point is coming up on its public domain thing, so I could steal even more from it if I wanted to, but really I'm just doing a sort of nod to a classic detective story. One of them is the seductive, trying to be too much of an adult character, and one of them is the more wholesome, but is definitely in over her head in other ways. I just need to know why. I need to know what makes them tick. And that was 15 minutes of me trying to explain something that should have taken like a paragraph. But I needed to put it into words. Say things to make them real. And force myself to do it. To actually look up the notes and double check. I also need to update the Miro board because I have a bunch of notes on my phone that need to go in there. Anyway, just a one-off episode, I think. Unless I figure out some stuff and want an episode for next week. In the meantime, if you want to hear me talk some more, this episode should be coming out just before the Groundhog Day Project comes back with Season 3, which I recorded 101 episodes in 4 weeks. I had a gap in between my summer classes because I had one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and a 2-hour gap in between, so I would just record. The episodes are fairly short. I think the shortest is under 10 minutes, the longest is just over half an hour. So, go listen to that. And if you're subscribed to this show still, you'll know when the new episode comes out. In the meantime, if you're listening to this, you're probably a writer or creative of some sort. Go create something.
Cut.
I should get coffee. Coffee would help me think. But I should write something first, then reward myself with coffee. Coffee and a muffin.
You're still here?
Okay, so I need to establish the themes.
It's over. Go home.
Maybe banana nut. That's a good muffin.
Go.